Hello builders, and welcome to another Planet Zoo building video with me, your buddy Stone. And welcome back to the World Zoo Project. Anyone new to the channel, this is of course the World Zoo Project, as I just said. Wow, go figure. It is a giant zoo where we are building a habitat for every animal in the game. Currently, as of recording this video, we are at 132 animals over on my Twitch channel. Feel free to click that link down below and join me over there. Anyways, let's talk about this build, shall we? In this one, we are continuing the build from the last video with the quokkas, but this time we are doing the koalas. The cute little drop bears that they are, and we love them indeed. In the last video, we created a dual viewing area for the koalas and quokkas to share, so guests can look into both of their habitats, more specifically the sleeping area for those animals. As you see, I am building it as I have been rambling. But yes, it's going to be a small little sleeping area as we don't have too many koalas in here. But I do enjoy giving them lots of space to play around with, and for them to have their choice of sleeping spots. And when this is done, we will start work on a dome for them. The dome will be outside or on the other side of the habitat and will house multiple little climbing frames and feeders for them to play with, as well as a nice outside bit connecting them together. As for the style of these buildings, well, we are just continuing the style from the rest of the Australian area, using mostly the twilight wall pieces and coloring them to match the red rocks of the desert. A beautiful red that really pops when you start adding some green plants around it. People often ask how you build domes in Planet Zoo and how you can do it so effortlessly. Once you understand the mechanics of how it works, it can actually be quite easy, although a little tedious at times. So here is Stone's lesson on how you should do it. Build one section just as I am doing right now. You're doing a single wall and a roof. Just play around with it, make it look nice, do whatever you feel is right. And when it's done, you copy and paste that wall to the other side, and then rotate that group over and over again while duplicating it. If you're doing it right, every single group of walls will be its own group. There's no way, unfortunately, to group them together, as they are going to be on different grids, but having them on different grids will help with the rotation. And once that thing is built, you can then go around and edit each individual wall and add a little bit more of flair to it. Maybe some walls you want windows, maybe some walls you don't. There might be other ways to build domes, but I find this way the most efficient. That dome took me maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And if I had done each wall individually, oh boy, that would have taken me, I don't even want to know how long. Hours, potentially. So yes, the old copy-paste trick will save you time. Time is money, as they say, friends. However, I can't testify if that's true or not, being that I've never had time and money at the same time. Because every time I have time, it's just time. There's no money. I'm hoping that money will come around sometime by just saving time, but I don't know. I don't know. And now comes that time of the build where I just do rocks for a bit. One of my favorite moments of the build is the rock work. It's just my zen moment for the day. Although unfortunately there wasn't much rock work to be done in this habitat, as the habitat was oddly placed in the middle of the section. Normally my habitats are always placed around the edges where I can just do big rock walls that make me happy. This time around though, not so many rocks. Now we come in and start working on the entrance for the dome. We're going to remove one of our base walls as well as the walls on the outside of the entrance. And from here we'll have a nice guest gate, allow guests to come in and interact with the cute little koalas. Maybe feed them some eucalyptus leaves, because that is what they love eating after all. It's the only thing they love eating. I guess since it's a poisonous leaf and nothing else was trying to eat it, koalas just looked at it and said, you know what, we got this. And decided to just full on put all their evolution points into eating poisonous food. It's a strategy. It's a strategy for sure. And you know what else for koalas? Being that they don't have to think too much about eating anything else other than one plant? Well, they probably have the smoothest brains of any mammal, other than maybe yours truly. I don't know, I'm pretty dumb sometimes. And that's probably why I relate to the koalas. Nice, smooth-brained mammals that they are. This is probably why koalas will only eat eucalyptus leaves when they're on the branch. If you give koalas on the ground some leaves right from the eucalyptus tree, guess what? They're not going to eat it because they don't know what it is. But hey, it's the internet. Don't trust everything I say. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a scientist. I'm just reading random facts on the internet. Those facts could be wrong. I'm just regurgitating it. Go do your own research. And speaking of eucalyptus leaves from earlier, let's put a couple feeders down for our sweet koalas. and from there we will then start decorating the habitat. Normally I have a routine when it comes to decorating my habitats. I'll do the climbing frames in the buildings, and then the rock work, and then the plant work, and it's done. This habitat though was all over the place for me. Don't know what I was doing that day, but oh boy. So I apologize for the jitteriness and just the crazy camera work for this recording. I'm going to try and edit it to keep it together for the most part, but hey, it's going to be jumping around a little bit. Just have to bear with me for this one. And while building this dome and habitat, I decided, you know what, we don't have any waterfalls, and I love putting waterfalls in. So why don't we put a waterfall in the middle of the dome and have it flowing out the back side of it. This way people can walk through the dome and have a path going over top the waterfall and listening to that sound of rushing water. Don't know if it really works well for the koalas, but hey, I love my waterfalls and I can do what I want in my zoos. Those koalas are just going to have to bear with it for a little bit. Okay, I'm not apologizing for my bad puns. Bad puns are all I got other than the building. And if I can see a bad pun, I am going to make it. You can bet I am. Besides, there's multiple good reasons to have a waterfall. One, it creates a nice rock feature in the middle of the habitat for guests to look at, and it gives us a chance to create something that can have climbing frames built all over it for the koalas. So you know what? Just more reasons for us to have a waterfall, and I'm all for my waterfalls. With our rock feature and waterfall complete, it's time to start working on the climbing frames. The easiest way I find to work on climbing frames is, well, to just put some platforms down first, figure out a rough idea how you want them to look, and then start putting in all the ropes, platforms, and all the little connection bits between them. Of course, climbing frames can be a real pain in the butt for new builders, and the only real advice I have for you is just keep trying. Play around, let your creativity take over. And of course, don't be afraid to use the prop pieces rather than the habitat pieces. Just because there is a specific climbing frame menu doesn't mean you can't use other pieces. If you search in the construction menu for the word climb, you'll see a bunch of other pieces you can use, such as ropes and little planks of wood and other fun little things for animals to enjoy. And right now it may look like I'm using just the habitat climbing pieces, but later in the video I will be adding some extra bits and bobs for the koalas to play on. Another habitat building piece of advice I have for you is to always consider where guests can see the animals. In this case, for any guests that are not walking through the habitat, I try to put a couple climbing frames around the edges of the glass to encourage the koalas to walk well along the edges of the glass, and guests can look in and enjoy the sight of a cute little drop bear just hanging out there. And here is a good example of using different prop pieces to make your own climbing frames. In this case, we're doing a suspended bridge hanging from the ceiling, using ropes and a few other little pieces. An idea that just sparked out of randomness by just looking at the prop pieces and just trying to figure out how we can make them work together. You might be surprised how often I have no idea what I'm about to build. Most of my weird building ideas often just start with me scrolling through the prop menu and seeing if I can make some weird strange piece work in some unintended way. Most of my zoo was built that way, as I don't have much of a plan of what I'm building other than just to start building and just seeing what pops out of my brain. With most of the climbing frames complete inside the dome, let's take a momentary break and come outside and focus on the outside of the habitat. This is where koalas can come out and get a nice fresh breath of air and enjoy the wilderness around them. First things first is, of course, I need to finish off the rock work and get everything the way I like it by doing my little rock zen garden for a bit. After that, well, we're going to add some trees here and there and work on some more exterior climbing frames. When working with animals that can climb, I always love to connect the vast majority, if not all, the climbing frames and habitat together. This will allow the animals to traverse one side of their habitat to the other without ever really needing to touch the ground, other than for maybe coming down to drink some water and get some cuddles from guests. Do koalas like cuddles? I don't know if they do. They always seem kind of cranky in a lot of videos when I watch them online. So I'm going to assume they don't want to be cuddled, but we can at least pretend they want to be cuddled in this zoo, being that they are animals that are theoretically raised in captivity and also it's a video game. As far as wanting to cuddle real-life koalas in the wild, don't do it. as far as they are concerned, you are a giant predator and you're just going to stress them out because they think you want to eat them, not cuddle them. Imagine you're a tiny little koala bear sitting in a eucalyptus tree just minding your own business, and out of the brush comes a giant hairless ape just coming at you holding some kind of weird flashy stone in its hand, aka phone, and just screaming and trying to reach for you. You are going to be freaked out, you're going to bite, and you want to get away from that thing. I don't want no crazy hairless ape coming at me. And sure enough, that koala doesn't either. Now if you end up trying to cuddle a koala and it ends up biting and scratching you, well, you know what, that's your own damn fault. Oh man, I really need to stop doing these recordings at night when my brain is going in weird places. I used to just talk about the building, and now I'm just rambling about weird thing after weird thing. And I probably could try re-recording it, but I'm not going to do it. We're just going to leave this all in the video, and you're going to have to live with it. Let me know if you enjoy Rambling Stone, or if you want me to talk more about the buildings in the next video. Although I suppose in this video I probably should talk a little bit about the builds now, shouldn't I? As I mentioned earlier, we're going to start coming in and replacing some of the climbing frames with prop pieces, just to give us a bit of unique flair to the design. One part in particular, as you'll see soon, is me building the koala burger. Don't know what we were thinking that day, but we were having fun in chat. We made a hollow burger for the koalas to climb up inside of. Why a burger? We don't know. We were just having fun. Even though the koalas can't actually climb up inside of the burger, we decided to leave it in, as it is a little bit of fun for the habitat. It does look cozy in there, doesn't it? And you can just imagine the koalas just nesting in there and having a fun time. Plus, it would give them a little bit of privacy from the people below, unless someone was stupid enough to try and climb up that pathway to get into the burger, because I'm sure that is definitely not code safe for human weight. With all the rocks and climbing frames mostly complete, it's now time to work on the foliage, one of the final parts of any habitat. It's what brings everything to life, and one of my favorite parts next to the rockwork, of course. And here we are just going to go crazy with the plants. We'll usually use plants from the correct biomes and the ones animals like. But because we are in creative mode, I will occasionally use ones animals are not accustomed to from maybe different biomes just for the pure look of the plants. After all, the logic behind this is animals, they're not going to care, they're not going to look at a plant and say, hey, that's not from my continent. They are not going to know. As long as the plants aren't too crazy and wild and maybe are poisonous to the animals, I think it's safe to say that we can just throw them in. And now would you look at the time? The video is almost over and I want to thank you for watching this koala video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Feel free to come check me on Twitch if you want to see me continue building this zoo. We are way farther in person than I am here on YouTube. As with my new job, it takes me quite a while to edit these videos, so I have quite a backlog to get through. But I am at least dedicating myself to trying to get 1 or 2 out a week. 2 would be pushing it, but at least 1 a week is doable for me. So yeah, click that link down below for Twitch and come follow me over there. Anyone who follows me over on Twitch will get their name posted in the zoo on little boards I have all over the place. So when I finally finish this project and upload it to the workshop, you can download it and see your name. And for the YouTube stuff, why don't you subscribe? Why don't you hit that like button? Leave a comment down below. Let me know how much you like it or how much you hate the zoo. I'm okay getting feedback either way. But yes, I will be having more YouTube videos coming out soon. The next video I hope to have out will be not for an Australian animal actually. We just had a new DLC drop for the Zookeeper pack. So I am going to be trying to squeeze in one of the animals from that pack into the South American section of the zoo. So look forward to that in the next video. Well builders, all that's left now is the cinematic route for this build. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed the video. And I really hope you have a nice day. Goodbye.